2023 is coming to a close, and what a year it has been. I know we've only really able to deal with the last couple of months here, but when we look back to the banking crisis of the spring, when we look to the BRICS meeting over the summer, we've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs over the past year. And so the year review kind of brings up this question of, what would we have done differently? If you had known perfectly what was going to happen this year, I pose that question to you to think about, to mull over. What would you have done differently? Would you have taken inflation more seriously? Because inflation has been absolutely crazy this year, but in some regards, compared to what official statistics and statisticians are saying, they're saying that it's actually come in relatively muted, that things have been not as bad as they had feared. But yet I know a lot of you, as we go to the grocery store, as we look at our insurance bills, as we look at all of our bills, we see a dramatic spike in inflation. We're going to be talking today about what might we have done differently and kind of how should that prepare us and what should we learn about ourselves and our surroundings as we go into this new year. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and so I do like to think a lot, and I like to sit there and kind of mull things over. And this year has surprised me. I don't know about you guys. Has this year surprised any of you out there? Did you expect everything to fall apart? The wheels came off in early, in the winter or early spring, and yet that's not exactly what happened. In some ways, the wheels are coming off, and in certain people's lives, the wheels have definitely come off. Individuals are having health issues that they did not anticipate, and that's definitely something we have to deal with, right? But by and large, the United States is a society, unless you live in Israel or Gaza or in some other places like in Eastern Europe, your life probably was not dramatically impacted this year in ways that was apocalyptic, right? So what should we be taking out of this? Let me know down in the comments what you think we should be taking out from just kind of reflecting over this year. One of the things is that the banking system is more corrupt than what I even kind of really anticipated. The amount of money that was pumped into the banking system, just like that. The Federal Reserve just started pumping money into the banks just without even thought. There was no discussion. There was no congressional this or that. The government didn't get involved at all. The Federal Reserve just started dumping money into the banking system. And that was kind of shocking to see. Previously in bailouts, like in 2008, with the banking crisis and everything like that, there was like government involvement and like, hey, we need to bail out these banks and we need to do this, we need to do that. Let's discuss this. Let's come to let's resolve this situation. And this year it was just like, we'll just print more money. And the amount of money in non-emergency times that has been printed this year is staggering. We're looking at the largest deficit of all time outside of the cough situation. And the thing is, the amount of money our government is spending each year is actually closing in on the cough crisis. And we didn't have an emergency this year. So why are we printing so much money? And the fact that we've seen over the course of this year, just the open border policy. I know the White House says we do not have open borders. And yet the millions of people that have come across the border so far this year might beg to differ. You come across the border, you get detained, they then give you a processing paperwork, and then you are released legally into the U.S. So we're not letting illegal aliens come into the U.S. I know, but you're just giving out freebies to everybody who comes across the border. 3 million people this year. 3 million people this year. Do we know who all these people are? No, we don't. Do we wish we kind of knew who they were? Yeah. We're not seeing primarily Hispanics coming across the southern border anymore. Primarily, we're seeing Indians, Chinese. We're seeing people from Africa. We're seeing people from Russia and other places. We're seeing Muslims have all nations coming across the border. We're seeing people from all sorts of Asian nations coming into the United States. Why do these people want to come in the United States? Most of them probably want the opportunity, some want the free benefits that come with getting into the United States and getting on the welfare rolls. It's said that just this year, more money has gone to illegal aliens from welfare than to American citizens. Now, you might want to Google that number, because I know when I heard it, I was just there like, wait, that can't be right, because there's a lot more American citizens here in the United States. But here's the thing, is that everyone who comes into the United States, get their little piece of paper, they start getting welfare benefits. After a few months, they can apply to get a worker's permit. And once they get that worker's permit, they can then use that to get a job. And we're seeing that across the United States, where people have the option of working if they want to and taking American jobs by just by the course of walking across the border and saying, I'm afraid to go home. And then the other half of that is that they now are entitled to welfare benefits because they're refugees and all that. That's what they're considered, and they're getting free bus rides all over the United States to spread the pain as much as possible to all these sanctuary cities all across the country. So what do we take from this? I see that while some people would say, well, that means there isn't going to be a collapse. And I see the opposite, that this makes the collapse that will happen all the much worse and all the more inevitable. It is impossible for the collapse not to happen. We're just making it more impossible for us to avert the collapse, and we're making it so that when the collapse happens, the more sure that there is no way that we can dig our way out of it. Because the impact of it, we are not a country anymore. Without borders, you're not a country. You're just, it's a joke, really. It's just a place, like think about it with states, as you drive through states, say you're on a vacation, you're heading out west or something like that, and if you're on the West Coast, don't drive west. You can't drive to Hawaii. But if you're on a vacation, you're driving across the U.S. and you just drive through a state that you don't have anything to do with, right? You just drive through a state and you see a little sign that says, hey, you're now in, Minnesota, or you're in, South Dakota or whatever. If that's not the destination of your vacation, you're just driving through. Is it really much of a... It's no difference other than the signs that you see, right? It doesn't impact you at all. Maybe it impacts the gas prices a little bit, but generally speaking, it's not a country. It certainly isn't a country. They have their own little government and stuff like that, but they have to play ball with all the other states, right? Their laws can't be too different than everywhere else, right? As you're driving through, you're not anticipating they have some weird rule that's going to really bust you up real bad, right? Unless you're carrying stuff from state to state, boomsticks or something like that, you have to be aware of some of these laws, some of these quirky laws from different states. But generally speaking, you don't have to worry too much, because without a border, if you don't have an enforced border, you're not a real country. And that's where we are now. We've brought in 15 million people in the last 5 years. 15 million people. The size of that is dramatic, and we're not talking about 8 million women and 7 million dudes. We're talking about the vast majority of them are military-age males. And what are their loyalties? Are their loyalties to the United States? Do they speak our language? Do they accept our culture? I don't think so. And so the question is, how do we respond to all of this? Should we be preparing even more? Should we be not preparing quite so much? If you're anything like me, I'm getting to a place where, praise the Lord, I'm getting to a place where I have enough stuff. People are like, well, you need to get more stocked up for food. I'm like, if you knew how much I got, I have a lot. And it's not just enough for me, it's enough for more people, and that type of thing. And so when you're prepared, how do you get more prepared? There's limits to how much space you have to store things. So I'm not out there at the store panic buying rice every week. I'm not. I got a lot of rice stocked up, and that's how things be. I don't show you all the stuff I got going on here. I can look over here and see quite a bit of rice and flour and other goodies in mason jars, but a lot of lentils and stuff like that just over there in a big stack. And this isn't a storage room. It's just that's where that stuff is. And hopefully you're much more prepared than you were last year. Hopefully you can look back at this time last year and you're like, I'm a lot better prepared. I'm in a better place. And I have better plans. I have contact with better people. But if you were to go back to that time last year, there's probably some shortcuts you would take to get to where you are in preparation-wise. Would you have spent more time with your family? Would you maybe have spent a little less time preparing? Or would you have spent more time preparing? Do you see the progress that you've made and go, man, if I knew I could make this much progress with that much investment of resources and time, I would have gone back and redoubled my efforts or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe right now you're kind of like, I've been trying to get prepared. I'm still not prepared. I really should have done more. This is all kind of stuff that we just kind of need to take in. As the year comes to a close, this is a good time to reflect and plan. What am I going to do differently coming out of this year? What other things need to happen? Are you going to do things differently? Are you going to set different priorities? Are you going to look at the world in a different way? Because there's a lot of things happening out there in the world, and you've been blessed with some more time. We've been crowing about things going completely sideways for a while now, and I, for one, am surprised that things have hung on for this long. And I'm surprised that the Federal Reserve has been able to kick the can down the road quite as effectively as it has. We should have gone into train wreck earlier than this. It's amazing how much Americans have just been so normalcy biased that they just don't believe anything can change, don't believe anything will change, that they just refuse to really look at the situation that they're in. And they just kind of keep accepting that the world continues to spin, even though one thing after the next is happening. So let us know down in the comments down below what you think. Maybe some of the lessons you think that we should take from this year. Whether you're looking at what's happening over in Israel and Gaza, or whether what you're looking at is the shipping situations we have going on, or whatever it is. What lessons do you think that we should be learning from? And what kind of things would you say that you would do differently if you had your year back again? Would you do more? Would you have focused more on other things? Let us know. And check out what other people have to say too. Who knows? Maybe you'll learn something from them. Maybe you'll be inspired by what someone else has to say about that. My thoughts are my thoughts, but with us together, hundreds and hundreds of people commenting and sharing their thoughts, that's truly a treasure trove of information and thoughts that are, that's one of the reasons why we like to do update videos here on this channel so much, is because, hey, you can just keep listening to my opinions about stuff, but I'm one person, but hearing a lot of you guys chiming in and sharing the information and sharing what you have gathered or is a much more valuable thing, I think, to our community. And the comment section is very, very important to who we are as a channel and what this is. This is a community of us sharing with each other. And so hope to see you down in the comment section down there. I'll be checking out what you got to say on this channel, on this video. But thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate you guys being here this year, and look forward to going into a new year with you guys. If you want to check out some of the Bible studies, I'm going to be kicking back off in Exodus with our Bible study back on Tuesday. So if you're a regular watcher over there, or if you haven't jumped over to check that out, you can always check out Poplar Bible Studies. Just type that into the search bar and you'll find the right place. It's me, but we're studying the Bible. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.